Friends, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today. Again, boys and girls, bats, rats, cats, dogs, anything that's listening. Welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. I am Tom Connors. It is 6 o'clock Central Time, 5 o'clock somewhere, and I have no idea what is going on, but I do know we've got some Superman news to talk about. We got a couple of remakes and rebootals, or whatever you want to call them, to talk about. We got a full panel already. Who knows who else might show up tonight? You never know when it comes to Midnight's Edge After Dark. We got 70s rock fan, a.k.a. Brian. How are you doing?
Very well, my friend. How are you?
Well, other than I'm doing much better than you, considering the shape you're in. But
did you read his book to get it right?
Well, he had a masturbation accident, I heard.
Yeah, my right arm is worn out officially.
He wore it out officially.
Oh, well, you should have cheated on righty with lefty. That's your fault.
Yeah, well, it's understandable that I blew my shoulder out because it's a difficult job that arm had to do.
Well, hopefully it heals just as strong. Maybe it'll go stronger than it was before.
Maybe yes. Maybe it'll become swole, unlike the
maybe
swole
it'll be bionic.
Yeah, we can rebuild him. We have
make it better than he was before. Better.
It could be
better.
It could be the Bryonic
man. We don't want to spend a lot of money.
Bryonic man.
The Bryonic man.
The $600 man.
Yeah, the $600
man. $600 Canadian dollars. That's even
better. Canadian dollars, so it's not even worth that.
That's 428. That's $428 US.
That's right. We
today anyway. I don't know. It doesn't fluctuate like
change.
Yeah. Probably get a chip taken out of a calculator to put in me for that money. Yeah.
Speaking of Canadians, we have Script Doctor with us doing the math.
Well, I mean, I'm getting paid in American right now, so I'm looking at the currency exchange, and I'm happy because it's Canada's dollars suffering right now.
You're going to buy Canada, then you'll be able to buy Canada.
Maybe
you'll be the king,
and then evict a bunch of the jerks in Parliament.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy to be here. I got finished work early, so I'm happy to talk, especially about these subjects. These are some good ones tonight.
Yes, indeed. We have some news, and we have CC Karaoke. We got the panel's almost been taken over by Canadians. It's like 3 Americans, 3 Canadians.
That's
but
Canadian.
One's a Scottish Canadian. You're cheating.
Yeah. We do invade. We just
you brought in quietly. A ringer with the Scot. I mean, come on.
Makes us connections too.
Because they know I'm Irish, and Scots are our natural enemy. So that's why we know we're not racist. We hate the people that look the most like us.
Well, it's like hating your brother, isn't it? Or your cousin.
It's like, you fuckers, you fuckers. No, fuck you. No, fuck you.
You're round. It's your round.
You. Diddly diddly potatoes.
Wow.
You're the one wearing a skirt. Of course, I guess we do too. But yeah. Anyway, CC, how you doing up there? How's the weather?
Kilts. Yes.
Yes, I've
Well,
heard.
we got about 30 inches of snow, so that happened.
Yeah, you affected our weather a little bit. We were getting great fucking weather, and then all of a sudden drops down to nothing. It's like the last 2 days. I'm like, God dang it! I bet you that's all CC's fault. He's sending it down from Canada because he was like, snow, snow, snow.
Sorry, I've been waiting all season for the
Damn it,
ski
CC.
season to get going. Now it's here, so not really complaining. It was just a lot of shoveling for a bit there. My car got completely buried, turned into a car igloo. Yeah. Other than that, another day, another race swap. Happy to be here, and
Another day, another race swap. That's actually very accurate. That was good, CC.
Pretty much.
Sorry about that. Andre was messaging me in the background. We also have with us Clobber in Times, who's celebrating Superman's birthday, and what timing with all, and I'm sure that's part of the reason some of this news was dropped today.
Oh yeah, timing. Well, I doubt James Gunn knows today is Superman's birthday in the comics, but
yeah, give him a little bit of a give him a little credit.
He might not. I don't think he knows that because he hangs out with
I think
Tom
he
King.
did.
He hangs out
a
with
lot of
Tom
people are
King.
saying
So
78, but isn't he like more 84?
86.
76, 86, yeah.
Like my father, he's the same age. Yeah.
Nice.
So, and of course, obviously, his actual premiere month for the comic, Action Comics #1's in June, July, and all that area. But in the comic, it was established at some point that his birthday, the character of Kal-El, Clark Kent, or whatever, is February 29th. I guess the same day, incidentally, the great C.C. Beck, creator of Captain Marvel, the real deal, has a birthday. But I don't know of any other ones too much other than that one. But Froggy from Little Rascals, also his birthday, because I remember that cartoon. I mean, that episode very clearly. Froggy,
So
remember him?
Is the February 29th the Earth interpretation of the Kryptonian calendar, or is it just the date that the Kents used when they adopted him?
Beat the hell out of me, but I think it was just the Kents. It was the Kents that used it. I don't know if they would. Why would they
were
choose
cruel? They're
that
like,
one?
we're not doing. We missed the first 4 birthdays. We're just not going to do another 4.
Well, I don't know why they would pick that one because again, that's whatever writer thought it was amusing. Because obviously, unless he went back and found out on through some other means, because as we all know, he was born, except for John Byrne. Don't get me started.
in
on
another
writer
planet.
John Byrne.
Yeah.
He was born before he got here, so I don't think they had February there. But
That's right. Different planet,
Yeah.
different calendar, all that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Maybe that's the day he landed, and they decided to go with that when they brought him to that orphanage.
Sounds
And he
good.
started tearing stuff up as Super Baby.
And they're like, just palm off to the
Yeah.
Kents. They take care of creeps.
Yeah, I can't remember the actual comic where it first happened. It just became part of it. In fact, E. Nelson Bridwell, who's one of the lore masters at that point.
I'm
he
trying to
came out with-
remember. Don't they still have that
And then-
lore in one of the either
well,
the
they used to-
Fleischer or the?
Yeah, well, but they used to. I think that it really kind of stuck when they started doing those DC calendars of the '70s, all the different art.
Yeah.
And-
Sorry, I didn't mean to disrupt you there. I'm just saying I do remember him. I do remember though vividly the whole him being in an orphanage thing.
Oh yeah. Okay, absolutely. He started out. Yes.
Is it in the Fleischer cartoons that they did that, or was it
It's
in
the
the George Reeves or one of the
in
other
Jerry-
ones?
No, not the George Reeves at all, but it's in the Jerry Siegel.
Oh,
and Joe
okay. I do
Shuster
remember.
first.
It's
in
in
the
like
first
one of the
origin.
Action Comics ones, like maybe 2nd or 3rd issue. It's
I swear
early
I've seen
on.
it in an animated form though, or
The
something.
early origin stories, which
Yeah.
wasn't when he finally gave him an origin.
Oh, I think I know what you're thinking about. You're thinking about the Ruby Spears cartoon, Tom.
Yeah, they
in the
did
late
that.
80s.
Did they?
were-
Okay, that's right.
they
I knew
find
I'd
him.
seen it somewhere.
Yes,
God
they
dang.
find him. They consider about putting him into the adoption to a foster home
And he
or
causes
orphanage,
all
and
that
they end
trouble.
up adopting him because he keeps on flying back to Kent's farm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's true.
Did,
Which was I love that part. That was the family album part. That was fun.
as a baby, did he have titanium diapers or what? I mean, was it maybe a
Yes,
diamond or?
Absolutely. No,
Must have, yeah.
he was
But we
just really smart.
Man of many flavors, and I don't know if steel is one of them. But he's the Dick, so I'm thinking Dick is one of those flavors.
That was good.
Yowzer.
I had my name carry over from doing the bachelor party stream for those who
Oh,
know
yes.
that movie. Yes. Anyways, yeah. What's up, chat? Hello, panel. We actually have quite a bit of news today, and well, let's talk about it.
Yeah. Yes, we'll talk about for those who want to talk about Dune. We already did that, but I know later on tonight, I believe on TNT, we'll be talking
There'll be
Dune.
some touching on it. I know there'll be some. There's gonna be a little bit
Some
of
light
that.
touching, fondling.
Shogun
Petting.
and more mindless remake
Fondling.
conversations.
Oh, we're gonna
Some
get into
fondling.
like a knockdown, drag out fight over this movie. I can see it already.
Oh, I got some opinions.
Over which movie?
Dune.
One that you and I are not.
Oh.
Yeah. I
Oh.
Well, we're supposed to be talking spoilers tonight on TNT, but we'll see how well that premise
Oh,
sticks.
okay. You all
Um,
seen it? All of everybody's seen it?
Some of us have.
I've
Yeah.
not seen it yet, but I will.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
But
I
thank
don't
you
care
for
about
being here, Nick.
spoilers.
And we have Kitty Bear who gifted 1 membership. Thank you for that. Yeah, spoilers. I mean, it is like what, a 60, 70-year-old book?
Yeah,
Exactly.
true.
Yeah, but if it doesn't follow the book, then you can't spoil
Still
it.
it was sort of
The
a story.
book.
The book.
Oh, give a break, you dauber.
Make-
I'm
make fun
gonna
of
pump
man.
your ma. I'm gonna
Does
pump
anybody
your ma.
understand anything this idiot's saying?
He didn't speak English, you know.
I
I'm
don't
Canadian.
know.
You guys are
Diddly
bigoted
diddly
against Canadians.
potatoes.
They
That's
are.
what it
You're
is.
bigots. All
Bigots.
Yes, we
You're
are.
bigots.
Panel of
of you.
bigots.
They're bigots. Bigots.
Baguettes.
They're bigots.
She had
So-
big hits.
Ah!
Huge.
Huge. Huge.
Huge.
Huge. All right. B Mart. Marte? B Marte? Or B Mart? I don't know if
B.
how do you
Marte.
say that. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but sent us a little Sheba dog giggling. Thank you for that. And then holy crap, Oli, a huge supporter of the channel, Angela Richter, just like Kitty Bear gifting memberships, but this is 5
you.
memberships. So thank you so very much for that. We appreciate that. We just had a member stream and it was quite fun. And hopefully we'll be able to keep up with that on a regular basis. I think Andre's trying to commit to the last weekend of the month. But as everybody seemingly is filing in here, hit that like button. And yes, I enjoy seeing green. It's not easy being green, but it is at Midnight's Edge. That's right. But yes, hopefully you share out the link, let everybody know that we're live because we've got some big news, big news. Now, as Klobby was pointing out, it is Superman's birthday today. And James Gunn, I imagine, even if he may not have known up front, I do think he did know, but somebody must have told him, and they teased some Superman news today,
Snooper.
and we got some, and that was the reveal, as I have been telling people or showing people that it was going to be the Kingdom Come S, only
Well,
with the yellow instead of the
With
black.
yellow instead of black,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's pretty much that S, yeah.
I'm
At least it's
glad-
yellow though. When you said that, or when I would just assume you meant it was going to be black, like the exact, the exact Kingdom Come.
I like the border too because it kind of makes it look a little
Yeah.
bit more. It's kind of like a mix between the
Yeah, I
not
don't.
Fleischer, but kind of.
I don't prefer it this way, but it's better if it were black. Again, I loved it before Kingdom Come. For this, I just wish it was the normal S, but it's still better. Halfway, it's halfway. At least it's got the yellow in it.
It's clear that there's, with the S and assuming that the suit is real, it seems that he's pulling influences from certain stories. Like obviously for the S, that's Kingdom Come. Now for the cape, that's obviously you could probably reference. Probably the most recent one will probably be All-Star Superman from Grant Morrison from Quietly for the shorter cape. Because some people are confused. I'm like,
very short cape in that. I don't like the short cape.
very
one.
short cape. I don't hate
this
it,
was
but I don't-
debunked,
I'm just kind of about it.
and I know
Well,
what you're
this-
talking about. That's
this
this
debunked?
image here. It
That's
has
debunked?
been technically, I guess. James said Gunn responded, "Come on" to it. Now does he mean come on like it already leaked out, or come on like it's not real? Now the only thing I think that it's not real is if you look closer here. Just a minute, Sadie. He does not have the yellow border around the S.
So he doesn't
But
like it either.
But I don't see any telltale signs that this is AI, so I'm thinking it's some kind of Photoshop deal, most likely. But
Pretty
I got to
good Photoshop,
imagine,
yeah.
I got to imagine, unless it is fucking real. I got to imagine that this is pretty close to what it's probably going to look like because he did confirm the trunks already too.
Here's what I as I mentioned on Twitter, for those who are not on Twitter, I said there are some good takeaways you can take from this. The one most important thing is the brightness of the red and the blue and the yellow. That
Yep.
is how Superman's suit should look like. It should look like it was
Yeah.
handmade,
Oh yeah, it
not
should.
alien technology. It should look like a handmade suit, almost like his mother made it type of thing.
It's supposed to be
And
distracting,
also-
exactly.
And yeah, and then of course on these there's the S curl. Now those are good positive aspects of this. So
Yeah.
I hope that some of this does translate to when we see the suit. So I'm down for that type of brightness because to me that should be the standard for these types of suits. It should be like that. This should be how all our favorite characters should be adapted to with these bright colors, not this muted stuff that was in some other series of movies that I cannot stand that we have talked about.
Or
800 times.
Superman Returns either, which was very muted.
Oh, dude, that doesn't count. We don't do.
Horrible costume.
Oh, dude, that's
It was
What is-
muted, and the S was way too small.
Too
It made
small.
him look.
Oh,
small.
I didn't
what
like
was
how
that
they did
ass?
the
That
S.
was
Yeah, it was.
alien ass.
It had that rigidity, that
Micro-S.
ridgy basketball.
He tried
fabric
doing
feel.
that 3D rigid thing too with the
Oh,
S.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I hated it, man. I hated
And then
it.
I
the tight
feel like
collar
it's
around the neck, that was
This
so
looks like a
communism.
basketball.
I don't like how
I
in
mean,
return they
yeah.
made the blue baby blue too. That drove me nuts. The baby blue. Oh, I was like,
I
come
mean,
on,
it's not
guys.
as obnoxious. Like the pattern's not as obnoxious as Man of Steel, but I'm not a big fan of this basketball pattern or whatever you want to call
I don't
it.
like that basketball shit either.
I mean,
but
it's kind of like a woven.
I don't
yeah,
either.
like a basketball or like a burlap.
Bryan Singer started that shit.
yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
With little tiny S's.
Yeah, with the little tiny S's.
It was
Yes.
a waste
What-
of a mass amount of money.
What's
Oh.
the white stuff in this picture?
Snow.
It's
That's
snow, okay.
cocaine. They're finally getting
I
back to the
just
good shit
wondered.
in Hollywood.
Hollywood's
Yeah.
getting back to normal, yeah.
James Gunn is like, we're spending all this fucking money.
So it's snow. Okay.
No, it's snow because he said in the post, he said, I didn't know if I should post the video or just this image. But I also have the picture of you rolling around in your trunks, which was him confirming that Superman had trunks. That's why I said clearly he's semi-deep. I wonder though. I mean, again, like I said, the problem is with this is this may be fake, but I'm pretty sure this is probably what it's gonna look like.
I think
Pretty
it, and if,
goddamn close.
I'll take it if the movie's good,
Yeah.
but
Maybe a longer cape.
should be longer.
I will say this though. I guarantee you, and I was telling this in Klobby's chat, I guarantee you if this Superman movie makes, a ton of money, I'm not going to predict what it will be, but a ton of money, that the sequel will have the more traditional S on the logo.
That
Might.
makes sense. That makes
Because
sense.
enough people will complain about it. and the studio will respond
Well,
appropriately.
not only that, it gives you an option to return to when you do an older version of Superman. You have the Kingdom Come S to reflect it.
Mhm.
Like again, I
Yeah.
love the 1970s, 80s Superman. To me, that's the symbol. That's
Yeah.
the symbol we had
Oh,
for the
God, yeah.
longest. I mean, sure, it was almost exactly like the George Reeves one, but if you look, there's still a little variant in there. When you get to I think help me out here, Clubby, was it late 60s, early 70s when they finally got the design with the bubble S at the bottom, and then where it
They
actually looked,
refined it quite a bit. Kurt
they
Swan
did a
kinda
few
defined
times,
it,
but when they
and then,
hit that version that Reeves has, like that's the version
Yeah,
that
yeah,
stayed
yeah.
the longest.
absolutely.
And it wasn't until like
the
the
variances
90s.
were minuscule.
Yeah,
third
until
side.
the 90s when we got this version, I think was the first time they had changed it. Since then was the point I was going to get to anyway.
Yes. Yes.
Other than the steel version that they had for a while where it was the silver S, but that was still the same
Sure.
style. It was just silver.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, the variances were so minuscule, it's barely worth mentioning. I mean, every artist is going to interpret things slightly different sometimes, even though they're trying to do the same S. But it was always big on the chest. It was never tiny until really, as far as movies goes, especially it's Superman Returns.
Oh,
Which
that
was horrid.
horrendous.
Horrendous.
On that suit.
Yeah, and it's no, but see, look, that I didn't really care a whole lot for the Superman Lois show, like a lot of people did. But in the first episode, they showed him in a throwback-looking costume with the black background S, based on sort of like more the Golden Age figure, not the Kingdom Come thing. And if they had done that for the beginning of this movie, it would have been kind of cool. But this, I could take it. I can live with it because it's so close, way closer than what we've been getting. If the movie's any good, that's really
Yeah, that's
where
gonna
I'm
be
concerned.
up for debate. I mean,
In a good movie, I could live with it. Mhm.
yes. Here's the thing. For every good thing Gunn can point out about comics, it seems that he also knows how to point out 10, 12 other examples of horrendous examples from comics, aka the Tom Kings of the world. So this could be a mixed bag. I could see this being a mixed bag where there could be some really good things, and I'm not talking about just this movie, but I'm talking about the universe as a whole. There might be some good things, and there might be some of the most grandest trash we might see because he will pull from the kings of the world, basically. And
Yeah, he's got Tom King's there. I have no faith.
Yeah.
No, Tom King is really one of the big linchpins that you got to kind of pull and discard.
Yeah. Yeah. But Gunn, I don't even faith. Look, I've liked some things he's done too. He's a talented filmmaker. He's hard-headed though. He's got to do things his own way, and which I understand. Yeah, and if I would have a little more confidence, even with Tom King there almost, if he wasn't wanting to adapt Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. I know that's not related to this movie, but it kind of is. It makes me question his judgment.
Kind of is, because it shows you some of the influence that he's pulling from Clubby.
Right. It's very
contemporary. The story doesn't feel true to the mythos of Krypton. There's a whole slew of things wrong with that.
Big time.
I don't like the revisionist history around that story too with Woman of Tomorrow. The fact that it was this like hot story. It was not. It was the story that sold let's just say the only people who bought it, and it seemed like it wasn't just like, my
Weirdos.
area, but it was just the people who pretend Tom King's comics are good. That's it. But if you're someone who actually knew who Supergirl was, you were not a fan of that comic. It was just people who, for some reason, need to convince themselves that Tom King is the new Alan Moore, which he's not, obviously. But they need
Alan Moore isn't even Alan Moore.
Yeah. It's clear like Tom was trying to channel that, especially with with the 9-panel grids and trying to like be deep with the stories and sophisticated, all that stuff. He was trying to be more, but obviously he's never gonna come close to that.
He's Alan Less. That's the thing. He's Alan Less.
That was a good script.
True.
And not to deviate back to this, but like going off of the look, like I don't hate the S, but one thing I will say again about the whole basketball thing, why don't they just do like a wetsuit look? Like I get it, you don't want to put them in tights. I understand. But what's wrong with just like a flat wetsuit look?
I mean, well, the materials. I mean, I get you're looking for the look of that as opposed to the actual material itself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like,
I mean, what Christopher Reeve wrote was technically more of a knitted fabric.
Well, it was kind of it was basically a ballet outfit. It's that kind of material.
It was knitted. Like Adam Savage, I think, has a whole like 90-minute view of like the only complete Superman suit that's on display. That's not the one that's used for actors to wear, which is slightly different, but the same material. But it's basically, when you look up close to it, it looks like it's made out of a sweater. Like it's got knitted, it's got like little corduroy type of creases to it that are really small or thin and tight. And the chest piece itself actually is more like more solid. It looks more like it's made out of wetsuit material for the emblem. And that was kind of an interesting aspect. And the reason they had to use that material is because the actor inside under those lights would be sweating, and they needed something that was resistant to sweat, but at the same time could breathe. So they went for something more knitted in fashion. And I strongly recommend checking out that video. It's a great in-depth discussion about how they made the suit, how they found all the pieces, and how I think there's like the boots are from one movie, the cape and the torso are from the first film, and I think the pants and trunks are from like Superman 3. And they made 3 different suits and coupled them all together for that display because the original one's obviously preserved at Warner Brothers. Or at least the one that survived, because who knows where the other ones went. Some of them may have been destroyed. Some of them may have been stolen. There might be some weird, creepy fans that have got one that was worn by Christopher Reeve that they've never washed before, and they smell it on a daily basis. I don't know. There's a lot of creeps out there. But, they should go for something a bit more simple, less complex in some areas.
Well, they should use...
Unless Ma Kent was like, hey, we got a couple of various colored basketballs from the Kent farm, and Clark kept breaking them all when he was shooting hoops, so I just cobbled them together to make the symbol.
They should use wool. Wool is the superior material. Anything produced from sheep is definitely should be.
But now I guess Gunn has come out and called that one picture completely fake. So we'll see if he's lying this time or not.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. I always said the hair's
Yeah.
right. You got the hair right on that one. That looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that makes it like I don't see anything in the picture that like sets me off going, oh, that's AI, that's AI, that's AI. The only
Yeah,
thing
I
that
don't
makes
either.
me at first wonder if it was fake was just because there's so many people taking his picture.
I think that's the part that's fake. Maybe the people are additive on Superman himself is real, and the guys there taking the photos are real. Because
But see,
yeah, that
now
doesn't
looking at
seem right.
see, this one is a little bit different resolution than the one I got sent to me. And this
Uh-huh.
looks like it's off of a monitor. Like
Okay.
somebody had a, you know what I mean? Like I'm looking at it now.
You like through the viewfinder or
No, like like when you literally take a picture off of a monitor.
okay. So like not in the
I can see
area
the
part.
lines like of the
Yeah,
what do you
yeah.
call it? The
The
pixels.
resolution scan lines, yeah.
Yeah, scan lines. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah. You know, like sometimes when people take like a video or a photo off of the computer screen,
Yep.
that's what it looks like. Yeah. So I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah.
I obviously he says it's fake. And
Hmm.
again, it doesn't have the yellow around the S.
No, the S actually looks a little bit more like it's not
And it's
it's
thicker.
added on after the like they whatever they composited first, they did, and then they added the S on afterwards. It feels like it's another
Yeah.
layer. Yeah.
And it looks like almost this S is a little bit thicker in the upper
Or
left
rounder.
portion. Yeah, or something like that, to where it's a little different shape. But either way. The other big news about this though is it's no longer called Superman Legacy. It's just gonna be called Superman.
It's a lot
Wait.
cheaper. They've taken a word
Really?
out.
Which is something
Yeah,
Mikey
good.
Sutton,
Cheaper.
which is something that Mikey Sutton had said before he had passed, is that they had been talking
Good.
about just calling
That's
it
a good thing.
Superman. So
Yeah, you even brought that up before Black Adam came out.
yeah, I said how much you want to bet it's just called Superman, or I'd been hearing it's gonna basically probably be called just Superman or whatever.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
It'd be the
I
it'd be the
do
first one
like
called only Superman. Yeah.
the reason why I like that it's called that, whether it ends up being good or not, is because once again, this shouldn't have to be about a legacy. This should be
No.
about LL Clark Kent. And when it's just called Superman, it does give me a sliver of hope that this movie will emphasize on this being Superman's movie. So, and then on top of it, it's a tell that mostly hasn't been used yet, because some people, I have seen some people sound like say it's already been used. I'm like, no, guys, 1978 was called Superman the movie. This
Yep.
is just Superman, and I like that. I do like that touch. I mean, it's about time we embrace a name rather than call it Man of Steel. I was almost worried that I was gonna be called like Man of Tomorrow or something like that. One of those names to make it sound mature and taken seriously. No, call it Superman. Stop being ashamed of the source material and call it Superman.
Yep.
And then the rumors are out that a lot of those the extra cast members, the Nathan Fillions and whatnot, are all end movie cameos.
That could be good, or as long as they're not like being there to assist Superman with a fight that he can't take on himself.
Or they're the ones that are defeated and Superman has to come in and save them, because that's
that
more plausible.
I could look at that, that would be a preferable outcome. I'll put it that way.
I can totally see Guy Gardner getting his butt kicked and Superman having to come save him, because Guy Gardner sucks.
Yes. Agreed.
Guy Gardner, I'm kind of like indifferent towards Guy Gardner, but he does have his fans. I'll give him that. He does have his fans. I don't understand it, but he does have his base, and I will respect their convictions. For me, it's Hal Jordan, man, through and through.
So do we know much about or anything about the story? It's not going to be an origin story, is it? Or is it going to
No,
be...
he said it's supposed to be him coming to Metropolis. He already said it's not an origin story.
Okay,
it's
good,
basically going to be him leaving Kansas to come to Metropolis.
Well, that's
it's
a good
about
thing.
him being a cub reporter, and Lois is a bit more experienced of a cub reporter by comparison. And the pitch is that it's reconciling with the Kryptonian heritage that he discovers with his human upbringing.
It's still relatively original.
Not a bad concept. That's not a bad concept to go for, because
it's been done a few times and it works well. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had basically, because we all know the origin story. It's like Batman's origin story and Spider-Man's. We don't need to see again. We all know it.
We at our age don't need to see it again. But again, there's a whole bunch of people that this will be the first exposure.
There's ways you could do it. There's ways you can do it within the story without reiterating the whole thing. Like you can start the movie off in Metropolis, modern day, And
Mhm.
as Lois meets Superman for the first time, just like with the
Lois
famous
bitch.
scene in the Donner film where they have the interview on the terrace, you
Mhm.
can have something similar to that where basically that's where he just reiterates, I came from a planet called Krypton and I was the last surviving member and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like you don't need to do much more than that. I mean,
Yeah, you can
it's pretty
pepper it
obvious
out in
who's
different
yeah,
ways. Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
just
and
like
we
they
don't
did in
know.
Lois and Clark. Sorry, yeah.
It still
I was gonna
sounds a
say
bit origin-y, though. I mean, it still sounds a little bit
to a
origin.
point. I
Mm.
mean, clearly he never said it wasn't going to be origin in respect of, he did say it was going to be about, Clark Kent
Starting at that, it's
starting
starting
out,
at that
right?
point. Yeah.
So basically it's like the Donner film, but we're starting halfway into it. Instead of seeing
Right.
all that other shit in the first hour and a half of the movie,
Yeah.
we're just starting out Metropolis, boom.
Mm.
That's
And then
okay though, if you do it right.
and then he'll probably keep Pa and Ma Kent alive, because in most versions they
Hope
are
so.
still.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that respect, so like you can still get to the parents and have whatever going on to where he can talk with the folks and all. Like that's one aspect I loved about Lois and Clark, right?
Yeah.
The Dean Cain show was that he always had his parents to fly to. Like instead of calling
Mm.
home, he would literally fly home. Like,
Well, he's
And he had
Superman. He
Kate
should
Callan
be
and
able to
Eddie
fly
Johns,
home.
which were great Kents. I mean, they were just wonderful to see. And I'm really hoping that we find out who the Kents are going to be in this new Superman film, because that's going to give you confidence. I think, like, listen, there's
and I
no
hope
real
his
dispute
mom
with
put
the
the suit
It's
together.
going to be
right?
Morgan
Sorry.
Freeman and Angela Bassett. Trust me.
Script you were about to say. I just wanted to say that. Yeah, like I just hope with the suit thing, it's his mom who does it. So that
Me
would make
too.
more sense.
I'd like his mom
be
to
a
do it.
homemade suit. It should be a homemade suit.
Yep.
We
Cape
don't
is the
need-
blanket. This rest of the suit is Ma Kent's thing. Because I mean, the dumbest thing in Man of Steel is the fact that they had little Clark wearing a red cape in the front yard. It's like, why would he do that?
Oh, I hated
Well,
that.
they don't
Right,
have that.
why?
It makes no sense.
Yeah,
Um,
where
Like,
did
who
that
is he
come from?
emulating?
Where did it come
yes,
from? Yeah.
exactly. Who is he emulating?
Yeah.
That's what I said the first time I saw it. I'm like, but who the hell is he emulating here? Like,
But I did think that Kevin Costner and Diane Lane were good casting choices for the Kents. The problem is they didn't write the Kents. They wrote Kevin Costner and Diane
Yeah,
Lane.
it was
Yeah.
conspiracy kook.
Yep, dude, when
Yeah.
they had them be the worst role models.
Yeah,
No, sorry,
awful.
quotation mark role models of parents ever, because that was the complete opposite.
Well,
role
that was
model.
Hack Snyder projecting, of
Oh,
course.
I
It
know,
wa-
I know.
and my hopes for the costume is that it's because like if the blanket is clearly, then you do like the things like you do in a lot, like in the old Fleischer cartoons where he'd use the cape to shield himself and stuff like that all the time.
Or Shield Lois and stuff from all the
Shield Lois
molten
and whatnot.
lava and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I love of that aspect, and that's the shape he had. And that's what I think somebody did with this, is they're clearly trying to emulate
The Fleischer.
the Fleischer.
Yep.
I don't know if James Gunn will go with that short of a cape.
I was gonna mention someone beat me to it in the chat. The Incredible Hulk, the one that we're Norton had the origin story in the credits. Just do that if you.
That would be
I know we
okay.
mentioned like every generation comes a generation who's not aware, but just have it be in the credits. People are. This is
Well,
about
that's what
a lot of
for me
hate
growing up. I didn't see
Hollywood.
Superman 1 for years, dude. My
Something
first time
mainstream
I saw
Hollywood.
Superman 2, and they have that 8 to 10 minute intro or whatever with all the stuff from Superman
recaps
1
the
that
first
recaps
one,
all
yeah.
the whole first movie for you.
It works
Sorry,
perfectly
Nick.
well.
No. Well, I'll just try to make a point that mainstream Hollywood doesn't give its audiences enough credit. There are audiences who like are very dialed into these things and who want to see these things. They're not stupid. Like they feel like their audiences don't get things, and they actually do. Audiences are not stupid. The audiences, for the most part, do know what they want, and if you give them a Superman story and then show this and that, okay, this is the origin story, putting the credits, they're gonna make the connection, even if they don't get it like within the first minutes or in the first viewing. They'll figure it out in the second or third viewing. They're gonna figure it out, especially if they like it.
It just
They're
has to be
gonna
good
come
enough
back
to
and-
warrant a second or third viewing. That's the other
Oh,
part.
of course.
Mhm.
And that's a whole other conversation. But all I'm trying to get is the audiences are not that dumb. They can make a connection on these things.
Well, they can, but the thing is, audiences also gravitate towards what's easiest. I mean, listen, when you show people two movies such as, let's say, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of like a really good, let's say Arrival, because it's sci-fi, and then you put it up next to Transformers, the Michael Bay one. unfortunately, when so many people go to see Transformers, you really do lose faith in the audience.
Mm.
But again, it's to their taste. They go with what's kind of easiest to grasp and digest. They don't really want anything too heady and too cerebral. There is a general limit that you have to find a good balance for. Otherwise, you're targeting a much smaller niche. When it comes to something like Superman, which is literally as ingrained into human culture as you can get at this point, well, the senior generations know the origin. Again, the first ones don't. So the real mark of a good storyteller is how can you weave that in quickly and effectively so that the first time that a kid sees it, boy or girl, doesn't matter, understands what's going on, and then is just swept away with the story. Now, we had the benefit of the doubt with the very first Superman, the motion picture. Richard Donner, he got to spend a good hour. He got like 30 minutes on Krypton, 30 minutes of Smallville. Then we go straight into the story, Metropolis.
Yeah.
When we come back again with Man of Steel, Zack Snyder just kind of copies that formula again and wastes our entire time.
Just plays it over Batman Begins, basically the same.
Exactly. He wastes the audience's time because he doesn't do anything new. He just says, this is how I would do what Donner did. And clearly it's terrible, derivative, and muted. So
yeah, and bass backwards on top of it all. But anyway,
exactly. So the thing is, well, how can James Gunn be different? Well, we've seen examples of how he was able to tell a really quick origin story with Peter Quill in Guardians of the Galaxy. That's less than 3 minutes. And you know everything you need to know about that character. And I mean, if he can be that effective with, Superman being sent to Krypton and getting a glimpse of his folks and having their goodbyes as the planet's blowing up, I can only cross my fingers that that's the case. Or he can circumvent it entirely and have the story that is being told in this thing, him discovering the fact that he is the last one and that he's from Krypton and his parents are with him, because that's what they did in Lois and Clark. They waited like a good season and the good mid part of the first season before they even got to the fact that Clark knew he was from a planet called Krypton. Like he had no clue. And he started receiving messages from his father through an orb that was part of his ship. Like it was a very small seeded storyline that was done throughout that first season. You could definitely weave that into a 2-hour film, especially if it has to do with some of the characters that they brought in, like the cybernetic girl from Authority. Maybe she's found remnants of Kryptonian technology that weaves through. There's lots that you can do and speculate that could actually gear up your imagination. The problem is that we let that speculation get too much of a hold of us. We're going to be epically disappointed in the movie because we'll be writing a better one in our head than what's going to be on the screen.
And that's what I've been trying to avoid too, script. And I mean, going back to, I think what you were referring to is when I said it would be amazing, because when we first heard about this whole, he's not going to be, I think it was you that brought it up when I said it, or one of y'all did. Because I do remember now saying that it'd be like, oh, really cool if they just did an intro like Superman 2, where you just basically have this origin story we never saw.
Right.
And I remember saying that, like, it's just boom, boom, boom. You just cut through it real quick, like it existed, but we never saw it because you don't need anything more than that, basically, to kind of get you up to speed. But you're right. Once we start writing this movie ourselves, we're going to fall into the whole trap of like the Star Wars prequels and type thing.
Absolutely.
Where we have too high of expectations going in. Everybody has their own idea of what it should be. So yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to sidestep that by saying this movie has way more potential than any other Superman movie since 2012. So I'm just going to keep that in mind and let the trailer and stuff inform what the rest of it will be, and especially with some of the costume designs. I mean, already I would say we've got a couple of good positive points with the cast that James Gunn has picked for this film. I like who they got for Lois Lane. I like who they got for Superman. I think the Lex Luthor casting is pretty decent too. Nicholas Hoult. Wasn't 100% expecting that, but it makes sense, given the stuff that was covered on this show, Toxic Femme and Midnights in the Morning. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting. So I'm just now, I guess they started shooting officially today. They go to Cincinnati, I think, in a couple of weeks, and I already heard that they've already moved trucks out there to start doing their setups. So people in the Cleveland, Cincinnati area, go take photos of what they're building over there and then share them online, because that'll pique a lot of people's curiosity.
Aren't Cleveland and Cincinnati quite a distance apart?
I think so, yeah. But I do know that they have locations set up for both areas.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland makes sense. That's where Jerry Siegel was from.
Giving themselves a little bit of a work.
Well, they're deliberately shooting in Cleveland, and there's rumors that they're going to be shooting stuff in Toronto because those are the two towns that
Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster are from.
The whole thing's set on the whole thing's set in a dystopian nightmare then.
Well, I mean, not so much in Toronto because it still looks like a city of tomorrow and it's
I know.
epically clean. But
Yeah.
like parts of Cleveland are really nice too. I think there's a
Yeah.
building there that looks like the Hall of Justice, so they might be
Yeah, there
shooting
is.
that.
Yeah, I quite like Cleveland, to be honest. Some of it.
Yeah. So Klobby, otherwise you've been quiet since earlier, being the eldest of the comic book fans. How much confidence does this instill in you so far, what you've seen of Superman, now that we kind of have an idea?
Yeah, not to say. I'm going to go, as I've been saying, with zero confidence, but but with an open mind. I'll give it a chance. It's James Gunn. I don't have any faith in him to not put his foul stench all over something the way he likes to do. But I'll be glad to be proven wrong on that. I don't mind that look that we've seen, if that's what it is. Like I said, I mean, if that's not a fake, as you say it may be, I certainly could, in a good movie, would not mind that look. And that look is very important with the superhero folks. I mean, they're visual characters from a visual medium, and there are many times they never get them perfect enough for me. But why would they? But I'm a comic guy first. I admit that. So, but there have been times when they've been just good enough, and then the movie's really good, so I was okay. This one, that's passable. But with Gunn doing it, with Tom King involved, I'm just going to go in on a wait and see basis, and that's all I can do. The kid looks the part of Superman. That's great. The cast seems to be okay, like Script was saying. Aside from that, we really know very little. And I will say that what you guys were talking about, origin, needs to be definitely tamped down to a minimum, because everybody knows Superman's origin at this point. I mean, I'm not saying you don't touch on it, but you find a much quicker way, a Cliff Notes way of touching on it, if you must. And
I flex your creative muscles by showing it in a way that's not
right.
derivative. Yeah.
Yes, and I say I have no problem with. Again, on the one hand, I would really like for once, even though I know it's a new start with a new crew and stuff, I would like to see one of these movies start with the character relatively more established. They never do that. They always got to have them at the beginning. Even that movie that I didn't like much, The Batman, for example, he wasn't like at his origin or anything, but he was new. And even that's like, so that's probably, if they're going for that, doesn't mean it's bad. It's just that I don't really prefer it. I would think I'd like to start that you could touch on the origin slightly for a few minutes at the beginning, or throughout the film somewhere. For the most part, I would like to see an experienced Superman that's established. It looks like they're not doing that. It looks like they're going to start him up around the time when he first goes to Metropolis. Doesn't mean it's bad, everyone. I'm just saying, just giving you my preference. I'd rather see start with an established Superman, just like it would be great to see start with an established Batman or whoever when you're doing these films these days. They don't do that because they're movies. Doesn't mean it's going to be bad. What makes it a red flag for me is James Gunn cannot help himself. He until he proves me otherwise, he likes the weird. He has this propensity to go crazy with his movies and do off the wall stuff, which could be really entertaining. And I really like some of his movies. But with Superman, if he learns to control himself, discipline himself a little bit, and realize that he should treat the character with the proper respect, he's capable of making good movies. He's capable of writing well and understanding these characters. So there's no reason he can't. But I'm very concerned with Tom King involved. So I'll just say, hey, look, prove me wrong. Right now, we're just getting started out. So far, it's okay. I don't know much else other than that, though, obviously.
All right. Well, let's see what the audience has to say. Nicholas Horton sends in a member chat and says, "Hail, everyone. No spoilers from me, but I just watched the first episode of Shogun on D+. They were good. Hoping it doesn't stray into wokeness." Yeah, I want to get around to this.
I've seen the first two, and
what'd you think?
Shogun is possibly my favorite novel, I wouldn't say the B word, of all time. And I thoroughly enjoyed the first two and was very impressed. And my worst fears of things that they might have changed were not realized. So far, so good is all I can say. It was an enjoyable spectacle, very good, and did stick to the novel quite a bit. The book, quite a bit. Yes, it made only changes that you would assume should be made for bringing it to the screen as opposed to
Right.
for other reasons. Yeah.
All right. Anybody else get to see it yet?
I have not.
Okay.
Shall we carry on, sir?
We shall. Chris Nicholson says in Man of Steel, I was never able to get over the fact that the suit was canonically Kryptonian underwear that Jor-El presented Clark. Yeah.
That's the mentality of that production team behind there. It's like, oh, he wears underpants outside of his costume, so we'll just call it underwear. It's like, no, that was an homage to the strongman of the circus era.
Yeah,
which,
and their trunks.
Of the trunks. And if you could find traveling circuses still around, which they're very, very, very rare, you will still see the strongmen wear something akin to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he was not as he liked it, not like he hyped himself to be. I said before, I'm going to beat a dead horse here, but Zack Snyder was not a comic book fan. He's a mainstream Frank Miller, Alan Moore fan.
Tourist.
It's not a diss on those writers, but it's surface level writers for people when they hear
Heavy
about a
metal.
story that everyone knows about. It's
Yeah.
one of
the
those.
tourist.
He's one of those types of fans.
Well, he was
he's a
admitted
tourist.
he didn't even like Superman. He insulted him right when he got in the first interview at the box when he got the job.
Oh,
He did.
jeez.
So screw it.
Man. Yeah.
He called some man a dork in his first interview about getting
Of
the job.
course
So
he
you
did.
know what? Go to hell.
Yeah, I don't need to see anything
I
from
guess
Zack
I'll read
Snyder.
the super chat. Tom must be attending to Sadie. Ironcaster for $5 says Nick loves Guy Gardner as much as he loves the Rebel Moon comic. Oh God, here we go again. He's trying to egg me on. He's trying to get people to get me to read that comic book so I can review it for my channel from Mags Visaggio. I really don't want to. I really
don't even waste the time.
I like my
it,
life
man.
too much to
Do
do
it,
that.
Nick. Do it.
Part 2 is coming out. Part 2 of that god awful thing's coming out in a month's time or so.
I forgot all about that.
My life is too short.
Set a threshold for them of super chat threshold before for you to read it. Just pick a number, probably very
that's
high,
a great idea,
6 figures.
I guess.
All right. And then when Dearest, who gets sent in $2, says montage of origin and opening painted by Alex Ross. Interesting. Did you see Did you see the post that he had to delete yesterday, or he deleted? I don't know if he had to.
Who, Alex Ross?
I didn't see it.
Yeah, Alex posted like a bunch of comparisons to his art to Zack Snyder, like in a positive post, and I don't know if it just got that much heat that he took it down, or somebody at Warner told him to take it down. But yeah, yeah, because underneath it was like a lot of people were like, "Don't compare your shit to Zack Snyder's crap."
Yeah, I usually get his posts. I didn't see that one. So
yeah, they were like on more of like, no. Don't demean yourself, basically, is what they were saying.
Yeah, you're too good for hacks.
Yeah, come on, dude. You actually have a thing called talent. Please don't.
Exactly.
Don't
yeah.
do that
Wow,
yourself.
I'm surprised. Where were the Snyder bots to push him on?
There was a couple, but then like I said, I think it's somebody either Warner Brothers said take it down, or the squabbling got to be too much, so he just took it down. Is my guess.
Oh, well, that figures.
If I had to guess, he probably did it himself. He does seem to be a pretty non-confrontational guy, which
I think he saw the squabbling.
He probably just was like, "I'm not going to deal with this," and he got.
Well, I know he didn't like Man of Steel. I know that much.
Oh, I know that. Oh, he Alex Ross lives about 15 minutes from me at a small town, and I have a buddy of mine who runs a shop who's run for 30 years, and he told me how pissed he was when he saw Man of Steel in theaters. And I was like, I believe it. But that's good. Alex Ross,
I remember
understands Superman.
I lost count of how many artists and writers that publicly said how much they were disappointed by Man of Steel after that opening weekend. Even
insane Mark Waid had his moment of clarity when he said that he was not happy with that movie. I mean, once again, for all crazy Mark Waid is. Yeah, I know. I think that should tell you something. When Mark Waid is making sense and is a voice of reason, should tell you everything about what's wrong with that picture. Yeah, but I remember his complaints, and he was absolutely valid in all of his complaints. Yeah, like I read everything he said about it. I'm like, yeah, I totally get where that comes from. As maniacal as that man is, and I don't like how he did a smear campaign for a long time against Richard Meyer, but in that particular situation, he was spot on.
Indeed. All right. Let's see here. What have we got next on the docket?
Then I will slip out right now,
Oh,
Tom.
all right.
We're gonna move on. Yeah, I gotta go and eat. I gotta go and figure out how to use my left hand and to eat
No.
as well.
Didn't,
Thanks for
have
having me,
so many
guys.
problems.
Feel better, buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Mhm.
just getting
Put
old,
a sling
man.
in it, or put it in a
Getting
sling.
old. I'm like a military academy. Little bits of me keep passing out.
Nice Hitchhiker's reference. Cool.
Correct. Well spotted. I knew
nice.
you'd get that one. Yeah. Good. Well, have a great night, everybody. Have a great night in the chat. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you all
right.
later over at Comics Division on Thursday Night Throwdown. So till then, peace.
All right. Take care of yourself, Brian. Check out that 70s Rock Fans channel. And we've got remake and reboot cool news. Let's start with this one here. This is one we've talked about before, but they're threatening us even harder now with it. Naked Gun reboot is set for 2025 with Liam Neeson to star. Lieutenant Frank Drebin is back on the case, according to this ABC News report. Paramount Pictures is moving ahead with its long gestating remake of Naked Gun. The studio announced Wednesday Liam Neeson will star as bumbling police detective Drebin. Isn't it Drebin?
Yeah, it's Frank
It's
Drebin.
It's Drebin.
Yeah, they spelled it wrong.
Lieutenant
the
Sergeant
real-
Captain Frank Drebin. Like his rank changes all the time.
Yeah.
I'm Detective
Made
Sergeant
famous-
Lieutenant Frank Drebin. Okay.
Yeah, by Leslie Nielsen. Akiva Schaffer will direct the film, set for release in summer of
Ooh.
2025.
Oh
The
God.
script is by the Chippendale Rescue Ranger guys.
Jesus.
This is not good in any.
Why?
And now
Akiva
here's the funny
Schaffer
thing I heard
sucked.
about this, and is that this is
Hot
more of a
rod.
reboot cool than an actual remake.
Like it's
I don't know
it's
where I
like a
heard
pseudo
this from.
sequel,
I'm
but
trying
not
to
quite?
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, because from what I heard, he's actually going to be playing Frank Jr. or something like that.
Oh,
He's still too
really?
Well, here's the thing: Liam Neeson can be funny, but why remake
Absolutely.
Naked Gun?
I don't. It's,
Once again,
Yeah.
another thing.
You're better off
where
putting him in like a spoof of Taken.
look, if you do
Yeah.
something
Like
in the
Dude, we had
spirit,
those called Tuken.
right?
And I
Something in
like
the
Tuken.
spirit of record, make it Naked Gun, maybe, but you know,
I have a
but
certain
to
set of
remake it,
skills.
yeah.
You haven't
it's
done those
just like
things since college, not those skills.
it's like what we said a few days ago, Tom, about the Roadhouse thing. They're doing the Roadhouse thing, or they're having enough different elements of it where it could stand off on its own 2 feet and probably be seen as its own thing, but they want the name of something familiar again.
Because it's easy marketing. That's the
Yeah.
biggest problem. We're dealing with okay. I don't know. I've been listening to it. I haven't actually been able to watch it, but I've been listening to the Gutierrez Alec Baldwin trial that's going on right now. And if you listen to some of the producers and the crew on their testimony, you will understand the level of frustrations I experience in Hollywood on a daily basis, because they are incompetent and dumb and just laughable. But this is how lazy they are. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to make movies. They don't know how to sell or market movies. But what they do have is someone came up to them with a really good comedic cop story, and every effort they made to try and sell it was rejected until they said, "Okay, let's slap Naked Gun on it." And then the marketing department's like, "Oh yeah, we can sell that. It's got 40 years of history. We can proffer to get this out there." Same thing with the Roadhouse. Hey, yeah, we got this cool thing that it's like Roadhouse, but it's not, because we didn't have the rights to it. But we went to the studio that had the rights, and they said, "Well, if we slap Roadhouse on this, we can make it and it'd be easy to market, and people will come watch it." No, that's not how you do things. That's why we've had a stagnant aspect of Hollywood for the last decade, because you could take a look at some of these remake titles that are virtually unreflective of the franchise they're supposedly being a part of, and be like, this would probably have been better if it didn't have that title on it.
No, it's because it would be, because I think that's the part that makes it even more tragic, is because you have these concepts now with these last few movies we're talking about here, and they're things that actually don't sound bad. Like, you're like, okay, if this was its own thing, it would probably make, me personally, I probably would be more enthusiastic to talk about it and see it. But as soon as you, slap those tiles on It's just telling me that no, you just want the namesake to live off of, even though it has nothing to do with it. It's just absolute bigger misleading of the company to do it. I'm tired. It's another, the bigger the bait, the bigger the switch. We don't need this. Luring us in with the style, but giving us a whole other thing.
Yeah, they could have named Roadhouse Lake House, and it would have been no problem.
I would have been good with Lake House. I'm saying now you could clip me on that. If they change it tomorrow to Lake House, okay, guys, all right. I'll even put my money where my mouth is, and if I had to buy a ticket to a theatrical release just to prove a point, I straight up would. Just like, okay, good. Someone has some self-awareness. Because there's a lot of movies have been influenced by something, and that's fine. And I think the idea of taking something that's a familiar concept but putting a spin on it is a winning formula to me.
Honestly, how do you not have something like from a guy who watched The Naked Gun takes Taken again and again?
I would see
Liam Neeson.
Kidnapped, or something. Some sort of pun on kidnapping or snatched or something. Yeah.
They've kidnapped his second cousin's uncle.
This time they kidnapped him and he has to rescue himself.
See, you guys are coming with things that would sell me. If I heard this, oh, that sounds hilarious.
Yeah, and the guy who did Hot Rod and shit. I mean,
Hot Rod was terrible.
Pop Star.
Nobody saw Pop Star.
No, I didn't even watch that.
I'll put it to you this way. That was an effort to make Andy Samberg a movie star, and it didn't work. And now you're putting him in charge of The Naked Gun, a Abraham Zuckerberg production.
How old is Liam Neeson anyway?
Liam Neeson's in his 60s at least.
Yeah,
maybe
gotta be in the 60s. Yeah,
yeah, because he was like 40,
early 60s.
So basically,
Star Wars.
Leslie Nielsen was younger when he played the role.
Yeah, probably.
Because he was 84 when he died in 2010. So I'm doing the math in my head now.
So yeah, you go 10, 15, 16 years. So yeah, he was probably,
because the last one was what, 96 or something like that, I think it was
96. Yeah, so he would have been 70 or 68, something like that.
The first one was what, 89, 90, somewhere in there.
89, and he did the Police Squad series in 80.
Series in the early 80s.
Yeah.
I thought it was earlier than 86, but yeah, it could have been.
It's definitely around. Yeah, so Liam Neeson's 71.
Jesus Christ. All I know is there's a bunch of videos out there. He pisses himself every time he gets drunk. Like, is that age, or is it just because he's Scottish or Irish?
He's Irish.
Irish. Yeah. That's what I meant. Not to pick on Brian. Oh, well, there's another remake coming out.
Oh, gosh.
And this one, look, I'll admit, I know that the original is not some beloved classic necessarily. But imagine it's actually getting a pretty good rating on the IMDb, believe it or not.
Which one?
The original?
The one we're about to talk about. Yeah. And the director of the original also is somebody I always had I loved his stuff because, I mean, he did Critters, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, The Mighty Ducks, Mr. Holland's Opus, Three Musketeers, stuff like that. Rockstar.
So good
He's
stuff.
a great, good stuff.
Yeah.
So here we go with another classic ruined. I don't even need to see it to tell you it's ruined. Here we go.
Hello. What a pretty young lady.
Look, it's great that you've witnessed Jehovah or whatever, but now's a bad time.
Oh, no, dear. I'm Ms. Durak, the babysitter.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, and the most important thing, if we're not alone and I ask you for something, you just say.
Is that
Right on top of that, Rose. I don't know. I don't think it's her, but.
Who?
Or Nicole Richie.
No.
Sorry.
That's Nicole, whatever, Richie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's her either, but like this feels like a a Funny or Die skit, like the way it's shot.
Yeah, it does actually. Yes.
I
Oh, also, this is the biggest thing that I don't understand with the concept of this film is that I don't know, maybe it's different in the United States, but in Canada, once you're age of 12, you don't need a babysitter to be left alone. It's not
well,
legal.
the U.S. is
Hmm.
funky. It used to be all right to a certain point, but then, like, there's been people like who can call CPS on you for almost anything anymore.
True.
And that's the thing about the first movie. I mean, the first movie's barely. Look, I get it. I unabashedly love the first film. I can even quote. In fact, the Butt Crack of Dawn, I got it from there. Right? Like, I mean, there's so many things I can quote from the first film. I just quoted the end of the line that you just heard there, right? I'm right on top of that, Rose. I mean, yeah, it's a ridiculous concept that is barely more believable than Weekend at Bernie's. And even then, at the end of the movie, the mom would totally get a fucking arrested for child negligence on top of everything else. And plus, I mean, everybody even then was like, why would you leave your kids for 2 months with a complete fucking stranger? And what kind of mother leaves the country with another man for 2 months when she's got 5 kids at home? Like, people were already asking those questions then. And I'm sorry to race swap this. They might as well have said, don't tell my baby mama the babysitter's dead, because this is looking sad. I mean, talk about and how did they go from PG-13 to rated R?
Is Eli Roth directing it?
I don't know. That's a good
'Cause
question.
it looks like it was shot by Eli Roth.
Oh, it looks horrible. It looks wretched. I mean, it's just.
I've never seen the original, but this looks. I haven't seen.
You never seen the original? It's kind of fun. It's a fun.
I was not very young at that point when it came out.
Ridiculous. Yeah, it is kind of one of those movies, but I grew up loving it. I don't know how many else on the panel here enjoyed it. But who the fuck asked for this?
Nobody.
No, that's exactly why they're doing it, Tom. Is even if no one asked for it, they're going for the things that haven't been remade yet. And I've heard some people try to use at least it's a lesser known film. I think you're missing the point when they do the lesser known film. The more you do the lesser known stuff, they are presuming that they can get away with more and have less pushback and backlash for what they change because it's lesser known. It's kind of Kevin Feige made himself clear when he did with Eternals that because it was a lesser known property, they feel like they can get away with changing more without there being any flack for it. And that's exactly something that could be done here. Even if it is with a good director. I mean, nowadays, I'm starting to worry that the director title means less because you have so many eyes seeing these things before they get out. I feel bad for even the good director because now you don't know how much of it is their vision. And this is probably going to be another one of those things where people are going to now judge this based off this and not even be like, oh, there was an original.
You are right. It was Nicole Richie.
Well,
it was
sorry,
her. God.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Like, why is she acting again?
Yeah, we don't need to have this be the thing that this is the movie that's judging it. People are going,
Tyra Banks is one of the fucking producers.
Oh, that should tell you this is a DEI production.
What the fuck?
Wow.
So what? She's not doing Archer anymore, so she's got to do this?
Oh, this is a BET movie. What the fuck?
Oh.
So
I'm I'm just looking at all this shit here. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is it going to theaters or is it just on TV?
It's a theater.
It says in theaters. It's a theatrical release. It's rated R. Yeah, it's
okay, but you could do
also
good
Iconic
BET.
is the other company that bringing it out.
If you do good BET like Black Dynamite or
Okay, so this is
okay.
This isn't even Warner Brothers as far as I can tell, unless is BET part of Warner Brothers or not? Because Warner Brothers released the original through HBO, and Warner Brothers were the ones that co-produced it.
Yeah.
This is the same company that's producing this with BET. They produce shit like Cinderella's Revenge, Satanic Hispanics, The Lost Weekend, A Love Story, Malibu Horror Story. Never heard of any of this shit. And the creme de la creme, Slaughterhouse. So it's a company that made Slaughterhouse. No wonder it looks like crap.
So it's a money laundering company. Okay.
And where's the
BET's Paramount?
BET's Paramount, so they must have bought out the rights to it then, yeah.
Yeah.
Or they reverted or something, because I was bitching just the other night last night when this first dropped, I'm like, we don't even have a fucking decent Blu-ray of the original. The DVD we have comes from a PAL rip, so it runs at a high speed. It is all ghosty looking. It's a really bad DVD. So like it's like we don't even have the original in a decent version, but now we're getting this crappy remake.
Wow.
Slaughterhouse. About the killer sloth.
Slaughter. Okay.
Yeah. That's their
They
claim to
wasted
fame.
that potential just like Cocaine Bear.
Did I expect anything less? Probably not, Jeremy.
That is a fair point.
But this is not a movie I
No.
thought needed a remake anyway. Like, I mean, like I just said, like it barely works in the first place. And the reason it works in the first place is because you've got Christina Applegate, Keith Coogan, Joanna Cassidy, pre X-Files, David Duchovny. I mean, like,
When you run out of things to remake again, you start to reach for the bottom of the barrel. That's what Sony did when it came to not remaking, but when they realized, oh, we can't use Spider-Man. Okay, let's make Madam Web. These companies are reaching for they're going for those bottom scrapes. They're creating new bottoms of these barrels to go for now with these things. And yeah, it's sad. It's really sad. And once
what's
again,
really sad
many
is-
creators get gatekept once again.
Well, what's really sad is Argentum is kind of right here because only the terrible movies that had potentially good concepts need to be remade.
yeah, and I mean that's the thing. This concept barely worked in the 80s, and that's the 90s, and that's one of the last times you could get away with something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know what movie
'Cause
is
even-
terrible but needs to be remade because it has an interesting concept? You're the hunter from the future. It's
Or
terrible.
Crawl or something like that. Yeah.
Crawl, baby, yeah.
Because here's the thing, like in the first movie, and I don't know if they're going to do the same thing here. When she dies, they panic, and the whole reason they don't call the cops or anybody else is because they don't want their mom to come home. Okay, so they end up boxing her up in a fucking big trunk and dumping her off at the morgue.
Mhm.
Nowadays, everything has cameras everywhere. They would never get away with anything like that. So what are they going to do? Hide her in the basement?
No, I'll
That's
start to
creepy
smell.
as fuck. Yeah,
Looks like they're
I
throwing
mean,
her in the fridge here.
yeah, that's what I'm starting to wonder by this thing. I'm like, oh my god, are they really going to have her like sticking around for a while so they can? Oh Lord! And I mean, they go through the beginning of that film really quickly because they kind of know themselves. Like, okay, we just got to get through this because nobody's going to buy this anyway. But we just got to. Yeah, this is just a vehicle for Christina Applegate and Keith Coogan because, like, come on, that's all this really is at the end of the day, and it is. She's great in it. It's a funny film. It's got some great lines. The kids are great too. But it's just like, I don't know. This is just one of those concepts that even I would be like, I would not want this assignment, right? Script. I would be like, fuck you.
Yeah. I mean, this was an OWA for sure. Basically meaning that whoever got the rights to it said, I want someone to pitch me a script for Don't Tell Mom, the Babysitter's.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. It should be Don't Tell Mama or Don't Tell My Baby's Mama. The Babysitter's.
Yeah, it's again, it's part of what you adeptly coined as the part of the last re. It's not enough that we're just getting, the studios moving away from all the identity politics. They're still clinging on to the bad formulas of yore, which is just grabbing any type of title that people haven't heard of in maybe a decade or two and then trying to slap on a remake for an easy buck. And you end up damaging the very brand that you use to uplift your terrible script.
No,
Yep.
this did not kill Keith Coogan's career. In the Army Now killed Keith Coogan's career. I mean, and then he did crap movies after that for a while. Yeah. And yeah, obscurity. And then he popped up in Jay and Silent Bob reboot, which was kind of funny. But yeah. Other than that, yeah. No. He's stoner number one in that. And he just never had he never got the chance to really. He had a lot of competition from a lot of actors that were similar to him. That was the problem, I think. I don't think that movie killed his career because let's see what the box office did. I remember it being a pretty big hit.
I
Yeah, it
remember
was pretty
Fox
big.
advertising the hell out of it.
Yeah, it cost 10 million to make and it made 25.1 million. And it was a huge, and it says here it gained a cult following on VHS and cable. I was gonna say it was always on TV because HBO was a co-owner of it. So it was on HBO all the time. So I remember seeing it a lot growing up. But anyway, that's the basics of today. There wasn't really much else, but we got Tweaky Kid here who sends in $4.99, says the ballerina girl, your acting seems ugly in that trailer. Ballerina girl. Is that a reference to one of the people that are in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, I guess?
I guess I haven't seen the movie, so I couldn't tell you. Yes.
Clarify that, Tweaky Kid. I'm not 100% what you're getting at.
He must be fat.
No, there's no relation that I know to Keith.
Different countries they were born in, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah, you have to clarify that, Tweaky Kid. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You don't have to send in another super chat. Just say it in the chat.
Say it. Come on.
I never realized I wanted Rob Schneider as the Fly till now.
Rob Schneider in The Fly.
Oh, the Lionel Richie song? I didn't realize there was one in the trailer. I didn't catch it. Oh, Ballerina Girl. Oh, that's the song you wrote for. Gotcha. Never mind. Took me a second. Never mind. Okay. Yeah. Ballerina Girl, you're so lovely to be. Yeah, it took me a minute. That's a deeper one. Deep cut from the Tweaky Kid there.
Yeah. A deeper cut.
Is she even though his biological kid though? I thought she was adopted. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I can't remember either now.
I don't have a memory.
Yeah. I got the song now, guys, but yeah. I'm trying to remember, but yeah, she is adopted. That's what I thought. Yep. Anyway, nobody asked for this shit. Tyra Banks, you're a fucking moron.
I love it.
I almost want to see this just to make fun of it. See,
You
this one I'm kind of looking forward to.
Get
Just
the Tom Connors review.
Well, what's sad is how much I actually know the original film. Because I have the DVD and I was so pissed that last night I bought it on digital because it is on digital and it is a better version. It's an old ass scan, but it's like, okay, at least it's in the right speed and it looks okay. But I got like 20 minutes into it and I'm just sitting there quoting lines from the movie. It's like, holy shit, I haven't seen this movie in like 20 years, but I still remember all the lines. And there's only like 1 or 2 F words in the whole movie. It's only PG-13. So I don't know where they're getting this R rating from or why you would make it R. Because that kind of kills your main audience. Because it really works best as a kid's movie. I mean, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Kids need babysitters. Teenagers don't. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, it seems like most of them seem young in this one. I don't even know if they're going to have the 5th kid. So I didn't count 5. I only seen 4. But anyway, where's the dog? All right, kids, let's get the hell out of here.
Okay.
Nick, what you got going on? You gonna be on TNT later, or you just?
I will be on TNT tonight. It'll be good. Tomorrow night, Comic Shop Talk. We'll be talking the classic Chris Claremont, Frank Miller Wolverine story. And since Marvel probably not do anything to celebrate Wolverine being a character for 50 years, why not make it a celebration as well for the people who are fans of the character as well? So it's gonna be a fun night, partying and talking the claws, bub. And yeah, of course, I'm gonna try to have a video out as well tomorrow. On other than that, I hope to see a lot of you in an hour. If not there, go hang out with Clubby at Clubhouse. If the Clubhouse is your way to go. Thanks for having me, Tom. Good hang out with you, Script, CC Clubby, and of course 70s, so we can Well, try to be hopeful for our boy Superman, because it's clear on this panel we're all very passionate about the character, as one should be. Thank you.
He's been hurt
Indeed.
more than by Warner Brothers the last 20 years than Lex Luthor could ever do.
Oh yeah, Superman's in an abusive relationship, and Superman's the victim of it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. What's TNT? TNT is Thursday night throwdown over on Comics Division. So hopefully we see you there. Kalabi, what you got going on?
Oh, sorry about that. Had to run off.
Oh, you're fine, brother.
What
you got going on later?
Let's see. Yes, at 9 Central, I will be on with the Clubhouse, of course, over at my channel at 9 p.m. Central with the wonderful Raquel Briggs and of course the great Mark D with the C, the chief engineer, doing our usual Clubhouse stuff of the Blake 7 review and some other stuff, I think. And then Friday night, my great buddy J-Man's channel continuing J-Man and Sean are continuing our reviews of Frank Miller's Daredevil run, which we're really, really enjoying that classic.
Nice.
And then I guess Nick, did you already tell what we're doing Friday night?
Oh yeah, good old Wolverine, Claremont, Frank Miller tomorrow. It's gonna be huge.
Yeah, there you go. And then Saturday night Star Trek, of course, 4 more episodes of Voyager with Raquel. And I wish it was that theme. No, it's Voyager. And, there you go. So
Voyager.
So thanks for having me.
Yeah, I don't know Voyager's theme.
It's a pretty good book. It's by Jerry Goldsmith. It's better than the rest of the show.
Oh, is it? That happens.
He's the best thing, I think.
CC, you've been quiet. What you got going on?
Friday night karaoke tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Pacific.
All right. Loki Oki. I'll be there. Hopefully, anyway. Script Doctor, you got your Saturday night thing, and I think you're going to be on later with Price, correct?
That's
Anything
right.
else?
Quantum Leap Revisited on Price of Reason Live. Go
Leap
check us
Day,
out
no
tonight.
less.
On Leap Day, yeah. It's very apropos.
Yeah, it is. Cool.
There we go. Anyhow, I will probably be on TNT later. Other than that, I'm sure I will see you elsewhere at some point, somewhere, somehow. Maybe a Mead Radio. Who knows? But take care of yourselves and each other. And always remember to vulcanize your tires.
Excuse me, ma'am. No porn at the bar.
Oh, it's okay. I'm transgender.
Oh, I had no idea. Do whatever you want.